All right, let's just get right into it. Welcome to this explainer where we are mapping out a complete, no-nonsense roadmap for building massive wealth. And the best part? We're talking about starting with exactly $0. Now, if you thought building wealth was some sort of exclusive club just for trust fund kids, well, get ready to be surprised. We're going to break down the critical teenage years step by step to put you on the absolute fast track to millionaire status. So right off the bat, you're probably sitting there thinking, wait a minute, how on earth am I supposed to invest with literally $0? It sounds impossible, right? But the source material reveals this almost magical mathematical reality. You honestly don't need a massive inheritance to get rich. You just need the ultimate superpower, time, and the raw, undeniable force of compound interest. It's basically about taking nothing, packing it into a tiny snowball, and then just giving it enough runway to turn into an absolute financial avalanche over time.
Now, before we unlock step 1, let's just make this official. If you want to really master your money and navigate this journey with us every single week, well, for subscribing, our channel name is Financial Analysis USA. Make sure you hit that button so you never miss a beat on how to actually win with money.
Okay, think of a timeline stretching from age 13 all the way up to 18. I want you to treat every single age on this timeline like a video game level. You literally have to conquer each level, build up your stats, and prepare yourself for adulthood. So let's break down exactly what each stage requires to win. Starting off with level 13, the secret advantage of time.
So at 13, you might have literally $0 to your name, but you actually hold the single greatest asset known to the financial world, and that is time in the market. Keeping your money invested for as long as humanly possible is hands down the most important factor in investing. Since you have a massive runway ahead of you, that snowball we talked about, it doesn't even have to be big at first because it has miles and miles to roll. But here's the catch. Since you aren't legally an adult yet, how do you even start? You need a custodial account. In the UK, that's called a junior ISA. In the US, it's a UGMA or UTMA account. Now, I know talking to your parents about money can be kind of awkward, but here is a pro tip. Literally pause this explainer right now, go call your parents over, have them set this account up for you today, and then tell them to put any future birthday or holiday money directly into it.
Once that account is open, keep your strategy incredibly simple. The source highly recommends investing in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. Basically, this just spreads your money across 500 of the biggest public companies in the US. And just think about this number for a second. 12.58%. That is the historical average yearly return of the S&P 500 over the last 10 years leading up to May 2024. You absolutely do not need to be some Wall Street genius picking individual stocks. You just hop on and ride the wave of the entire market's growth.
Moving right along to level 14, the no-rent freedom era. At 14, you have a massive unfair advantage that most adults would absolutely kill for: zero living expenses. Because you don't pay rent, you aren't paying for utilities, and you have zero financial liabilities, you are completely 100% free to take risks. The goal here is to try absolutely everything. We're talking anything from pressure washing driveways to joining competitive sports. The source actually shares this wild anecdote about a team getting up at 4 a.m. every single morning just for swimming practice. Now, I don't know about you, but I can barely wake up at 8 a.m., but forcing yourself into that kind of routine, that builds a ruthless sense of discipline. Finding your talents really just means exploring your hobbies. Double down on what you actually enjoy now so you can outwork your competition later in life.
Next up, we hit level 15, stash, don't save.
Okay, here is the big mindset shift. Teenagers are notoriously bad for saving up for 3 whole months just to blow every last penny on a weekend at a theme park. And hey, we all love a good roller coaster, but you have to stop viewing your savings as a temporary waiting room for spending. It's time to ditch the physical presents. Stop asking for those new video games that, let's be honest, you're going to get bored of in a month anyway, and start aggressively asking for cold, hard cash for every holiday. Start viewing your cash as a launch pad. If you combine this mindset with a simple weekend retail job, which by the way is great for building social skills, suddenly you aren't starting at zero anymore. Even stashing away just $100 completely changes the game.
All right, now we are entering level 16, stack your skills.
You now have this critical 2-year window before hitting the real adult world. It is time to take all those random hobbies you've been exploring and turn them into actual high-income skills so you can bring tangible value to the market. Take the money you've been stashing away and listen closely. Instead of buying scammy online courses from fake internet gurus, invest in real equipment. The source notes this brilliant example of a teenager who used his stashed cash to buy a $500 iMac. He sat at that computer for hours on end, totally taught himself video editing and Photoshop, and suddenly possessed incredibly valuable skills. That's the formula. You buy the tools, you put in the hours, and you build the skill.
Which brings us to level 17, drive toward freedom. In business, mobility is literally everything. You must get your driver's license so you can stop relying on unpredictable public transit. Just imagine landing a huge freelance client 30 minutes away, but having to turn them down, or worse, showing up super late because your bus didn't arrive. There's a really hard-hitting quote from the source here. To be early is to be on time is to be late, and to be late is unacceptable. When you are a teenager trying to do actual business with adults, your professional reputation is everything. If you aren't reliable, all those massive wealth-building opportunities go straight out the window.
And here we are, the big one. Level 18, the boss level checklist.
You made it. You are officially an adult in the eyes of the financial system. And the source outlines a crucial 7-step checklist to set yourself up for life. Step 1 is getting your own bank accounts opened up. Building a 3 to 6 month emergency fund in a high-yield savings account is basically like chucking a big pot shield in Fortnite, right? But you're making sure you still keep some minis handy in your inventory just in case. It's your absolute ultimate protection for when things inevitably go wrong and your income dries up. Step 2 is getting a credit card. Now think of your credit score as essentially your Uber rating, but instead of drivers rating you on how polite you are, it's banks deciding if they trust you enough to lend you their money. The absolute strict rule here: use that credit card for normal everyday expenses like gas and pay the balance off entirely in full every single month. Do that and you pay 0 interest while building a sky-high credit score. Step 3 brings up a pretty fascinating historical debate. We're often taught from a super young age that debt is bad, period. Interestingly, though, phrases like never a borrower be were historically pushed heavily by the wealthy. Why? Because the wealthy knew that leveraging debt is exactly how you build empires, while the working class was consistently taught to fear it entirely. It's an interesting perspective on how financial tools are viewed. For step 4, we need to take a hard look at university. Getting a degree for critical fields, like becoming a doctor or a nurse, is obviously vital. We need those. But on the flip side, taking on $100,000 in student debt for a degree in something like golf management? Yeah, probably not the best move, unless you plan on carrying Tiger Woods clubs for a living. You really don't need a massive mountain of student debt to learn practical skills or dive into entrepreneurship.
Step 5 is all about dodging bad debt. The crucial difference here is actually pretty simple. Good debt is borrowing money to acquire an asset that goes up in value, like getting a mortgage for a house or a business loan. Bad debt is financing things that lose value the second you buy them. The source points out that a staggering 2.2 million UK drivers are currently stuck financing cars. The rule of thumb? If it doesn't create wealth, don't finance it.
Step 6, start a side hustle. You literally do not have to accept the miserable narrative of getting a day job you absolutely hate at 18. If you spent the last 2 years stacking your skills like we talked about, you can launch service-based hustles like copywriting, video editing, or web development. These require virtually zero startup money, just sheer skill and an internet connection. Leverage your skills so your daily grind actually becomes a launchpad for your business. And finally, step 7, the grand finale, the ultimate cheat code, compound interest.
This is the act of investing for the long term, where you don't just earn interest on your money, you earn interest on your interest. And guys, this math is absolutely mind-blowing. Let's say you start investing just $250 a month at age 18. Assuming an 8% return, you hit roughly $1.5 million by age 65. But if you wait just 10 years and start doing the exact same thing at 28, you only reach about $679,000. Think about that. A 10-year delay literally cost you over $800,000. That is the undeniable, hard math of why starting young is so incredibly important. So what does this all mean for you? The roadmap is completely clear, the tools are all laid out, and the math of compound interest is undefeated. The only variable left in this equation is you. So which age level are you starting at today? Drop your starting age in the comments right now, take immediate action on your specific level, and let's get to work. See you next time.